So I got up this morning early. I woke up early. I was awakened early. 4 o'clock. And I was not ready to get up. I'd only had 5 hours of sleep. But it was obvious it was time to get up. It was time to awaken. It was time to hear. It was time to stop and turn. And so I get my morning Be Well cup of coffee, and I sit down with Big Daddy. Big Daddy. That's what I call the creator of all that there is. You may call him God, you may call him Jehovah, you may call him Yahweh, you may call him Yahweh, you may call him Hashem, whatever. He's big, and he's my daddy, so he's Big Daddy. So Big Daddy just kind of like a fountain when he is communicating. It's like a fountain comes from here. It's not like my head brings into me. It's like something from down deep comes up. And that happened as soon as I sat down, stopped. This verse came up, and it's the last verse of the 23rd Psalm. The 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Famous passage. But the last verse just came up. And he kind of unfolded it a little bit. When I got through, I said, wow, that's a really good video. Let's do it. The last verse of the 23rd Psalm, in the translation that I've always used, English translation, 500-year-old English translation, it says, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. But what came up was goodness. And chesed, which a better translation than mercy is his loving kindness. And not just they shall follow me, but they shall pursue me. So let's dig a little deeper. That's what he was showing me. It's his goodness and his loving kindness. They pursue me. And I said, Daddy, if your goodness and your loving kindness are pursuing me, I want them to catch me. How do they catch me? And he said, Stop. See, if you're moving along through life and something is pursuing you and you stop, it can catch you. It can become part of you. It can become one with you. See, if you have ears to hear, you hear what the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit of Him, is saying to the called out ones. So I got my little digital Bible thing out and wanted to dig a little deeper into this. And the first word, yea, surely, verifiably, absolute truth is about to come forth. Goodness. Let's look at that word goodness. I think it's tube. Hebrew word tube. Tob. Okay? Tob. And basically the one word definition is good. Now, who is good? What is good? Where is good? This guy came to Yeshua HaMashiach. We call him Jesus, the Messiah, or Jesus if you're Spanish. This guy comes to him, and I think with a good heart, wanting to know truth. He says, "Good master, what good things must I do that I might inherit this eternal chai, or life?" Notice, good master, what good things must I do to have this everlasting life that you talk about? And the answer, the Mashiach, the Messiah, the only miraculously birthed human son of the Father himself, said, "Why do you call me good? There's none good but the Father." Shocking! There's none good. There's none Tob but the Father. Now, how could he say that? Because he wasn't a robot. You're not a robot. Angels are not robots. Neither is Messiah the King. He could have chosen his way. He could have chosen to do things differently. But he chose in every single moment Father's will, because he knew his will was goodness. Many of you will remember the prayer the Messiah was praying just before he was betrayed and given over to the political establishment for crucifixion, a torturous death. He prayed, "Daddy, is there any other way? I mean, here we are. This is why I came. I mean, even Moses, and Elijah, they came and they met with me and we discussed this, and I know exactly what your goodness will is, but whoo, here we are, and is there any other way? I mean, is there any other cup that I can drink? So he's making sure, is this the only way? I mean, you never know till you ask. I mean, think of Abraham. Big Daddy said, take your son. I'll show you where. And lay him on an altar and sacrifice him for me. To me. Give him to me. And he just did it. 3 days journey. So in his mind, his son was dead for 3 days. Miraculously birthed son. Whoops. And yet when they got there, something else had been arranged, and there was a ram caught in the thicket. And the messenger from Yahweh, from Big Daddy, said, hey, don't kill the boy. Substitute the ram. So, the Messiah, the King, he didn't know everything. He didn't know everything that the Father had in his heart. Search the scriptures. So he's in the garden and he's yet not my will, Big Daddy, but your will, because your will, according to your arrangements, is goodness. See, Big Daddy can't choose something that's not good. We can. Even the Messiah could have. But Big Daddy, he is totally, completely, 100% goodness. That's what's in him. Goodness. So, in this verse, goodness, the very heart and the will and the kingdom of the Creator himself, the Most High One, is pursuing us. And not just Tob, goodness, but chesed. Oh. His loving kindness. Boy, if you dig into that word, let's dig into it. I don't know if you can hear this. My German shepherds are all howling a symphony together. Probably can't hear it. It was pretty cool. They just do it every day, and you never know what time of the day, and they just did it. Somebody starts howling, and then somebody else, and there's 7 of them, and before you know it, they're all howling this symphony for about 30 seconds, and then they stop. It's really cool. This word, translated mercy, and the translation I used was raised on, it's literally translated kindness, but a deeper look, chesed, kindness, loving, intense, loving kindness, favor, merciful kindness. Now, I spent a lot of decades just knowing about him. But the past decade, I've been getting to know him. And if you stop and want to know more? Daddy, teach me more about this word, chesed. Teach me more about your loving kindness. He loves it when we ask questions like that, just like little children. He loves to answer questions like that. Daddy, unveil for me, reveal more depth concerning this goodness and this loving kindness that are pursuing me every single day of my lives, plural lives. So I'm like, Daddy, I want your goodness and your loving kindness to catch me. How can they catch me? They're pursuing us. How can your goodness and your loving kindness catch us? And he said, stop. See, when we stop and offer the very first part of our day to come out of this world system that we live in and respond to the call. He's calling out to everybody in many ways. But when we stop and we turn our hearts toward Him to go into His house, to sit with Him in the secret place of the Most High, when we stop and turn and become one with Him in that first part of our day, every day, His goodness and His loving kindness catch us. And we are made well. Don't you want to be well? I like being well. I like shalom. Stop. Turn. And let Big Daddy's goodness and loving kindness catch you today.